What's good, people? It's your guy Bendu, and yeah, so we kind of made it, I guess. As of right now, as I'm making this right now, the country hasn't fucking imploded yet. So, it's 4:01 p.m. on 11 November the 5th, 2020. So, by the time I post this video, if the country fucking lost its shit and blew up, then I was wrong. But yeah, so obviously I'm going to be talking about the election a lot the next couple posts, and one of the things I want to talk about specifically is something that kind of has to do with the election. Well, it has everything to do with the election. It's these viral Fox News exit polls that are popping up, and it's like, look, as of right now, I haven't heard anything about them being fake. So as of right now, they're real, which is why I wanted to talk about them because they're kind of amazing. So this first one you're seeing now, it was a like, or it's a poll exit poll. Sorry, I'm trying to find it right now, guys. I'm like clicking through shit. All right, so the first one, you guys know, I'm a huge advocate for Medicare for all, and just single payer overall. Whether we switch to the French model or we go to Medicare for all model, which it's the same as the French model, pretty much. But it's crazy that literally the question is changing to a government run healthcare plan. 39% said they strongly favor, 33% said they somewhat favor, and 14% said they somewhat oppose, and 15% said they strongly oppose. So literally that's 72% of the country that are in favor of a government run healthcare plan, something like Medicare for all, or, in some form of single payer, something like that. I just find that amazing because neither one of the candidates are for that shit. And they made that very clear in the debates and their campaigning. Like everything from Joe Biden saying, hey, I'm the guy that beat the socialist. Then Joe Biden or Trump running around talking about, yeah, socialized medicine is not the way. They want to socialize your medicine. You won't get your doctors. Your doctors won't see you. And Joe Biden is the radical Marxist leftist that wants to socialize your medicine. Bullshit. But yeah, so 72% of people are for that shit. And those are Fox News viewers, people. Fox News. Yeah, that's crazy. Another one I found interesting was this one, and it said, "How serious a problem is racism in United States society?" 49% said very, 29% said somewhat, 16% said not too, not too much, and 7% said not at all. That is something that's very startling to me because, and again, as of right now, I haven't heard anything, about them being like, photoshopped or anything like that. They seem real. I would like to know, who were the people that they polled, what was the, demographic, because if they went out to like New York and did this polling or some shit, then obviously it's going to skew that way. But I would just like to know, how did they gather the data, to make these polls. But even the fact that they show this shit on Fox News is just amazing. So yeah, how serious a problem is racism in U.S. society? There's the numbers, and it's like, with all of the riots going on, and it's crazy. I was just talking to a friend earlier this morning about this, and it's like, he brought up, Black Lives Matter and everything, and my whole opinion on it is, I do look. I'm not anti Black Lives Matter, but I'm not pro Black Lives Matter, if that makes sense, because I feel Black Lives Matter is just, a psyop. It's a it's been corporately captured, and literally it's just there to sow division. It's not addressing any of the problems. It's all it is just yelling a bunch of shit that, a bunch of talking points that the media is feeding them. And when the media is being fed its talking points from the intelligence community, because the intelligence community, especially right now, is trying to sow division. And that's just what it is. But on the other hand, I will say that, Black Lives Matter, it was formed under Barack Obama. A lot of people don't want to talk about that, but Black Lives Matter is, it's another Black Power movement of the many that's existed throughout American history, and it's like, that's one of the things, that one of the reasons why, I can't outright say fuck Black Lives Matter, because there are real systemic issues that Black people have plights about, and have been, bringing these plights to the conversation table. You know, the power structure doesn't want to have it, and to be quite frank, you know, a lot of white people don't want to have that conversation because it, you know, addresses a lot of the privilege that they've had in this country that black people have not. And, you know, there's still systemic issues that go on in this country. And both candidates, you know, talk about it, but, you know, Joe Biden in his past, we already know what he did. He's not going to do shit. He's going to make the problem worse, like he did with the 94 crime bill. And Trump doesn't give a fuck. Trump only gives a fuck as long as it gets him reelected. And, you know, he doesn't care, and the Republicans definitely don't care, you know. And it was kind of, I will say this, you know, I'm not giving this nigga credit. I'm not giving this motherfucker credit or anything like that. But it was kind of interesting seeing, you know, Mitt Romney of all people go out during, you know, when the protests were going on in D.C. I think it was in D.C. where he was.
Finding a way to end violence and brutality, and to make sure that people understand that Black Lives Matter.
Hey, Senator, why is it important for you to be out here today?
We need a voice against racism. We need many voices against racism and against brutality. We need to stand up and say that Black Lives Matter.
He's the first known Republican senator to join the George Floyd protests. The Utah senator marched in a Black Lives Matter demonstration in Washington yesterday. Romney was wearing a mask, and he marched alongside a group of evangelical Christians. He tweeted out 2 pictures of himself with the caption, "Black Lives Matter." On Saturday, Romney shared a picture of his father participating in civil rights protests in the late 1960s.
And he went out and marched with the protesters and spoke with them. Like, I always, looking back now, I always say that I feel like Mitt Romney didn't get, you know, a fair shake, if that makes sense. Because, you know, even though his economic policies are horrible, but Barack Obama governed just like him anyway. So it's like, you know, they attacked Mitt Romney as this racist and shit like that. All, you know, the typical Republican shit they do, or the typical anti-Republican shit, you know, that the Democratic Party pushes. But it was, you know, just, you know, looking back now, just, you know, all of the, you know, scapegoats people have for Mitt Romney and everything just turned out to be not true, aside from his economic shit, of course. But, yeah, so but going back to the, you know, the campaign, neither candidate is really going to address anything when it comes to the plights of the protesters. And, you know, I'm not for rioting and looting at all. And, you know, not an Antifa fanboy, because I don't believe Antifa is what Republicans, the boogeyman, you know, that Republicans make them out to be. And I don't believe the Proud Boys are the boogeymen that the fucking, you know, the liberal media tries to make them out to be. I think there are people with, you know, legit grievances on both sides. And it's like nobody's addressing these problems. Even now with Donald Trump. Donald Trump isn't, the reason why Donald Trump got elected was because he was talking populist sentiments in 2016.
Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people. The establishment has trillions of dollars at stake in this election. For those who control the levers of power in Washington and for the global special interest, they partner with these people that don't have your good in mind. The political establishment that is trying to stop us is the same group responsible for our disastrous trade deals, massive illegal immigration, and economic and foreign policies that have bled our country dry. The political establishment has brought about the destruction of our factories and our jobs as they flee to Mexico, China, and other countries all around the world. It's a global power structure that is responsible for the economic decisions that have robbed our working class, stripped our country of its wealth, and put that money into the pockets of a handful of large corporations and political entities. The only thing that can stop this corrupt machine is you. The only force strong enough to save our country is us. The only people brave enough to vote out this corrupt establishment is you, the American people. I'm doing this for the people and for the movement And we will take back this country for you, and we will make America great again.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
When Bernie Sanders was talking, talking the same populist sentiment, so was Donald Trump, and nobody wants to address that because nobody, wants those policies that they were talking about to come into fruition. And it's like, when people constantly see nothing changing, they just lose their fucking shit. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying they're righteous in that, but it's like, what the fuck do you expect to happen when you keep hammering people, on both sides? And it's like, nobody wants to actually address this shit. Everybody just wants to talk the surface level, shallow bullshit, except digging their hands in and pulling more of the mystery. I don't know what metaphor I was trying to make there, but yeah, it's just, I find it weird that, nobody wants to actually have the real conversations about policies that will affect people. And I remember I was watching Jimmy Dore the other day. It was an older video, not too old. It came out like within the last month or so. And he interviewed this young lady. She's an activist, and she went to West Virginia. And West Virginia, if you don't know, is a state that has been just rocked economically, and the people there, they're, it's not a rich economy to live in, or a good economy to live in. And when she talked to a lot of the people, she said a lot of them would have voted for Bernie. That's the crazy part. They voted for Trump because Trump was saying similar shit to Bernie. He was the next guy saying similar shit to Bernie, where Hillary wasn't. She was talking the same neoliberal corporatist bullshit. And, same thing with Joe Biden. That's why he lost West Virginia. If he went out there talking about a $15 minimum wage, if he actually he didn't even have to actually mean it, because Donald Trump didn't actually mean it. If he just went out there talking about Medicare for all, and I'm not saying that he should have, because I don't want I don't want bullshit thrown at me, but he's not even giving you fucking lip service at that point. That's never mind. I'm not going to make that metaphor. I was about to make a metaphor, but I'm not going to say that. But he's talking about he's not going to ban fracking. When a lot of people throughout America, suffer from the effects of fracking, whether it's toxic, their water gets contaminated with, carcinogens and toxins and shit. And, there's been a lot of earthquakes going on in areas where they do fracking. Like, fracking is just not good for, not just for the environment, but just for the people in the surrounding area. But, just saying the most unpopular shit that people don't want to hear. And it's like, it's not a surprise that Joe Biden is barely eking out a victory against Donald Trump, and vice versa. Donald Trump is, more than likely about to lose to a guy who doesn't have, his full mental capabilities. He has dementia. Joe Biden has dementia. Sorry, to the people who don't like to hear that. You're voting for a guy who has fucking dementia. So, but yeah, so that's, the racism thing. That was interesting to see. What is this? Surprise! And again, if this one that I'm putting up here now, this is a Fox News poll. So if this is Fox News viewers, this is amazing. Supreme Court action on Roe v. Wade, leave at 71% said leave as is, 29% said overturn it. That's amazing. That's crazy. Like, the abortion argument isn't a hill I die on. It's not a it's not a political topic I talk about very honestly, to be quite frank with you, not to alienate, the ladies that are listening. I do feel you should have your right to choose. That's where I fall on it. That's why I don't, talk about it a lot, because, my stance is clear. You should have the right to choose what you want to do with your fucking body. So I guess I'm pro-choice at that. Well, literally, I am pro-choice at that point. But it's just like, I don't give a fuck, because I feel like it's just a political, it's political theater that they use to, scare their side into voting for the candidate that's there at the time. So, but it's kind of amazing to see that, if that is conservative Fox News viewers saying that. So that's pretty amazing to see. This one is also another one. If, again, I know I keep saying this, if this is Fox News viewers they're polling, this is amazing. What should happen to illegal immigrants in the United States? 72% said they should have a pathway to citizenship, where 28% said deportation. That is also amazing, because one of the things that, Donald Trump ran on was building a wall, which he really didn't deliver on, and, deporting illegal, deporting illegals. And, the media made such a big stink about it and everything. Rightfully so with some of the rhetoric Donald Trump was using. Although when I was a Trump supporter, immigration was one of the things, I supported him for, because the country does have an illegal immigration problem. And to all, my illegal brothers and sisters out there, I don't know what not to call you illegals, but, all our immigrants out there, I understand, you're escaping the hardships of your country that was brought upon you by the United States that people don't like to talk about, and this fucking bullshit drug war that also affected my people here, black people who are the descendants of slaves, the drug war and, the war on drugs and a lot of the crackdowns during the 80s with the crack epidemic also affected, Latinos in South America as well. But, you have to come here legally, man. And it's like, Bernie Sanders used to say this a lot, what I'm about to say. But, when illegals come here, it drives down wages.
We need legislation which will improve wages and income in America, lower the poverty rate, and expand the middle class. That's the legislation we need. Unfortunately, the guest worker provisions in this bill, which will bring many hundreds of thousands of lower wage workers into this country, will only make a bad situation even worse, will drive down wages even further, not only for low wage American workers, but for highly skilled professionals as well. I believe we have very serious immigration problems in this country. I think, as you've heard today, sanctions against employers who hire illegal immigrants is virtually non-existent. Our border is very porous, and I think we need a path to citizenship, which I think this bill addresses in a significant way. My main concern about this bill is what it will do in terms of driving wages down, not only for low-wage workers, but for professional, skilled workers as well. And I think at a time when the middle class is shrinking, the last thing we need is to bring over a period of years millions of people into this country who are prepared to lower wages for American workers. I think it's a bad idea. What we're trying to do here is make the case that for American workers, this is a bad piece of legislation. We hope that Democrats and Republicans will vote against it and make it a better bill. I think this legislation, as I think you've heard, will probably do more harm than good. Obviously, we need major comprehensive immigration reform. I think we're all in agreement on that. But we don't need a bill which contains provisions which will continue the shrinking, accelerate the shrinking of the middle class and increase poverty in America today.
It's just a fact. If you don't want to admit it, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you don't want to look at shit objectively, but I'm not placing the blame on illegal immigrants. I'm placing the blame on, one, our foreign policy, and two, the corporations that incentivize them to come over here. So that's how I feel about it when it comes to immigration. But I do feel illegal immigrants should have a pathway to citizenship. Just like, a lot of people don't like me when I say this, even though, I'm against them coming here illegally. I feel like if they're here, they should have fucking healthcare. And, the pandemic proved that, because, a lot of them work in our food industries, whether, they're doing the migrant farmers and everything, or they're working at your local McDonald's where people are still going out to fucking eat. If they're fucking sick, that's going to get you sick. So it's like, everybody in this country, whether, if you're in this country and you're sick, you shouldn't have to worry about going into debt to get your health taken care of, man. That's basically how I feel about it. Fuck if you don't agree with me, I don't care. We don't have to agree with each other, but I don't care if you agree with me or not. But that's just how I feel. But it's just amazing to see that on Fox News. Again, if that's Fox News viewers, that's just amazing to see. And I'm going to do one more. I think it's one more that I have to do. U.S. gun laws. I'm a pro 2A guy. I do feel there should be, there should be proper, channels installed so, random psychos don't get guns. But, I don't think that's the case, like how the left tries to make it out in America. I think they're, most people who own guns are, for the most part, responsible. Like, my friend Aaron Skinner, who's going to be on the show soon, you know, is a super, you know, pro 2A guy. And it's like, you know, speaking with him, I learned a lot. I was already 2A prior to speaking with him, but just speaking with him more about, you know, just guns and everything. It's like, you know, we should be able to have guns to protect ourselves, whether it's from intruders, even, you know, from the government, if it ever comes down to that, even though, you know, I don't believe whether you have guns or not, this is going to fucking help. Just ask the Muslims overseas where, you know, they get drone strike the fuck out of. If it ever comes down to that, you know, the people versus the government. You could thank George W. Bush and Joe Biden and Barack Obama and all them for signing and Donald Trump signing the Patriot Act and extending it. So, but U.S. gun law should be more strict. 55% of people said in this poll said they should be more strict. 12% said they should be less strict, and 33% said they should be kept as is. That's crazy. That's a Fox News poll. So, you know, 2A is another hill I don't die on. I'm pro 2A, so I don't talk about it a lot because that's just what it is. I'm pro 2A. So, but yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and close the video out here. It's just amazing to see these polls. And, you know, I'm also going to be getting into the ballot measures in another video that should be posting today because I found that amazing as well, especially down in Florida. Mississippi as well, North Dakota. So I'm going to be talking about that if you guys know what I'm talking about, but you'll know when I drop the video. So as always, thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. And yeah, peace.